Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jazmine Lambarca, and today I have a video for you guys to help you get your first engineering job or another engineering job, right? Because I've noticed that either new people that just got out of college can't get a job. Maybe you have been in the market for a little bit after college and you can't get your first engineering job, or you've had already engineering jobs, but then you're searching for a new job and you can't get an engineering job. I've seen all those scenarios and I have some tips for you. I have some tips of how to get an engineering job. And let me give you first a rundown of myself. So first of all, my YouTube channel is all about fashion and beauty products. Makeup mostly, but yeah, I decided to include this type of topic on my YouTube channel because outside of YouTube, I am a full-time engineer and I've worked in aerospace, medical device, and defense industry mostly. I've had a few engineering titles working. I've worn many hats at this point. So I recently acquired a new job position and I've reached the senior engineering level. Also, for your knowledge, I've had interviewed lots of candidates, lots of engineering candidates in the past. Furthermore, I've helped friends on their unique situation to get their engineering jobs, and yeah, so I've rebuilt resumes for other people and I've helped with interviewing. Let's just quickly jump into the tips that I've got for you. I have 5 tips that will help you get your first engineering job. These are things that I've adopted myself, things that have worked for me. Okay, here we go. The first tip is to select what industry you want to go for, or what top 2 or 3 industries you want to go for, and also job titles. So let's break that first tip into 2. Let's first talk about industries. There's a lot of different industries. There's aerospace industry, defense, there is software industry, there's the petrochemical industry, pharmaceutical, there's medical device. Also, there's the automotive industry, there's the space industry, robotics industry. So you need to think, especially if you're a woman, you need to think like, what are you really willing to do? Are you okay with your day-to-day being like really mechanically type job? So you need to think about, are you willing to be on the floor? Some industries are very masculine environment more than others. Yeah, so you need to like watch where you get into. If you want to work in the automotive industry, well, you have to think if you really want to work for the end customer, manufacturing customer, not like you buying the car. Meaning like, do you want to work for Tesla? Do you want to work for Ford? Do you want to work for GMC? Directly with them instead of a supplier that makes some of their parts, like for example, maybe a foundry that does like the rims for the cars or components of the engine for the cars. You're not the end customer, so you're gonna have to do a certain component of a product for the customer as per their engineering drawing and specifications. If you're the type of person that likes to be, clean hands and you don't want to deal with the whole mechanics of things, and maybe you can do something else. Maybe you can be in the quality department, maybe you can be in the project management side, maybe you can be in R&D, or maybe being in the software engineering field is more for you. So yeah, just think about those things. For example, I am a little bit over the whole mechanical environment, being on the floor all day, every day. I'm a little bit over that, been there, done that. Now I'm more enthusiastic about other things. I won't only go back if I got into the space industry, honestly. Anyway, also you have to search for a job title. Like, do you want to be a process engineer? Well, you know you're going to be on the floor most times, mostly all day. There's going to be a bunch of meetings. You are in charge of an existing product from start to finish, legacy products, continuous improvement. That is more like industrial engineering. Do you want to be a chemical engineer, work in pharmaceutical or petrochemical? As a mechanical engineer, you can be more involved with robotics, manufacturing engineering, that manufacturers are in charge of repairing machines or making new machines to help on the process flow in the facility. Yeah, or maybe quality engineering, maybe supplier quality engineer. I would suggest sit down, take time and Google like job positions, go on Indeed.com and see what's out there. And let's say you're interested in a job position, Google the title or what they do specifically, read the job descriptions. But if you want more detail of what a process engineer does, go on YouTube, watch a couple of videos, or Google it a little bit more. Do more homework than just reading the job post. Once you have those two figured out, like, oh, maybe I just want to work in the aerospace industry for now. Okay, fine. Look for aerospace positions like Lockheed, Boeing, Honeywell. And then from there, create your resume. To me, most times when somebody can't find a job, whether you're new or experienced engineer, most times it comes through your resume. And, you know, I've seen it. I mean, if I can find a job each time. So I'm going to tell you, like me personally, what I do with my resume. And then I'm going to give you examples of what I've seen that other people, their resume condition, and they cannot find a job. Like, what is the condition of their resumes? Because I've seen a lot of resumes. So again, I'm going to part these in two. So what I do with my resume is, once I have it created, I give it to a couple of friends. So I do have a couple of friends, fortunately, that are in higher positions that can take the time to look at my resume and correct it, because I am super comfortable with being scrutinized on my resume. Like, take it apart, write red everywhere, right? So I have one friend that he is a chemical director. So not in my field, but who cares? These are smart people. I gave him my resume, he corrected it, and I implemented the corrections, right? And I'm super panicked about grammar errors. Oh my God. Yes. Like, I am very cautious with that. And then I gave my resume also to another friend of mine. She works in 3M. She is above senior level at this point. So I gave it to her. She has like 20 years experience more than I do. So she also corrected my resume and I adopted the changes. But that has been like in between jobs. And now this most recent correction that I needed from a friend, I gave it to a colleague that she retired once years ago as a VP of a very famous lab. So yeah, so I agreed to pay for dinner and sushi, and then she made corrections to my resume, and that worked really well. So I adopted those changes to my resume for sure. Another thing that I do is I take the job post and I adopt keywords of the job post and I include it in my resume. Also, another thing that I do is I use Google. So I search for different words, the synonyms of them. So I use Google Synonyms a lot. And the last thing I acquired, it's another tool. I will include it in my description box. It's a document that I downloaded from Harvard University, from their website. It's called Undergrad Resumes and Cover Letters. I will include a link below. And I specifically, what I use is a table on page number 4. It's called Action Verbs for Your Resume. So it's a huge table and it has a lot of verbs divided in leadership, communication, research, technical, teaching, quantitative, creative, helping, and organizational. So of course I've taken a lot of these verbs and adopted it to my resume. Other things that I do, I don't include the hobbies in there. Who gives a crap about your hobbies? And then, but I definitely go heavy and hard selling myself on my resume, okay? I take advantage of each part of real estate in my resume. I almost forgot to mention that I have seen a lot of resumes from friends, acquaintances, and also candidates that the resumes are not really up to par. And even it's a little baffling because there's this person that sent me their resume recently so I can look at it, but they paid somebody to make their resume. And still, I was like, what on earth? It was bad. You know, put things that are going to sell yourself. Don't put like you have great communication skills, because you're supposed to have the great communication skills as an engineer. Don't put on your summary, you know, on your summary, you put like experienced engineer with this many years of experience and I'm skilled in this, and that. Don't put that you're skilled in PowerPoint, Excel, Word. Look, I would hope that you know those things. Pretty sure the company would hope that you know those things too. Get that crap out of there. Put it under your soft skills or whatever you want to put it. Personally, I don't use those words on my resume. I put expertise for my hard skills, and I put proficiencies. And under proficiencies, I put all the softwares that I know how to work with. SolidWorks, freaking PowerPoint, all that. Microsoft Suite. Put all the ERP systems that I've worked with. I put all that under proficiencies on the very bottom of the resume, and I include the expertise under my summary. So that's what I do. Again, if you want more information on how I do my resume, if you want me to go more in detail, let me know. I can do a separate video just talking about resumes. You know, don't do a resume like you just got out of college yesterday. Even if that's true, don't do it. Don't do it. Google resumes on Google, and go from there. Each time I do my resumes that I'm searching for a new job title, I look at a minimum of 5 different resumes. Put your certifications. People don't put the other certifications on their resume. I was really shocked. So yeah, that's my resume recommendations. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you need help or more videos talking about this. Yeah, oh my gosh, those first 2 just took a long time. Let me try to hurry up. Okay, number 3, practice interviewing. You've got to practice. Do not go to an interview without practicing. They ask very, very basic questions and also technical questions. And if you haven't practiced, you're not gonna know how to answer these, even though they seem like super easy type questions. But at the very same time, it's like you've got to take advantage of each question, and each question is like an opportunity to sell yourself. So you have to search for 2 types of videos on YouTube for interview questions and answer videos. One, normal basic HR questions, right? Like, tell me about yourself, why do you want to work here, stuff like that. Stuff like that are basic, and you need to take advantage of that. And you can, like, specifically with tell me about yourself, that is a very good, I mean, you can sell yourself quickly in a couple of seconds, and the rest of the interview is yours pretty much. And the second part is research the type of engineering title you want. They're going to make you questions like, oh, what tool do you use to problem solve? How are you going to know that if you don't practice? There's a lot of different tools. You also have to practice how to handle the negotiation of your salary. That is very important. I suggest you sit down, especially if you're a woman. You've got to do your research. Use Glassdoor so you can search of how much people are earning in that specific company that you're applying for, including outside. Like, what does the market offer for you as a supplier quality engineer, for example, or maybe as a, I don't know, continuous improvement engineer or R&D engineer. Tip number 4, do not miss a single interview. Do not miss not even one. So I adopted this because for my very first engineering job, I almost didn't even go because I was a little intimidated. I didn't even have engineering experience at the time. And then the two people that were going to interview me at the same time was the VP of engineering and the manager of engineering. So of course I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I really want to go. Jesus. And I went. And I was hired. I sold myself, and I got the job. Now, another tip that I can give you now that I remember how the interview went is that at the very end of your interview, probably they're going to ask you the most basic question. Do you have any more questions for me? Then you can ask, if they haven't told you yet, like, what are your frustrations? What are your pain points currently with maybe other colleagues or other employees that you might have? Because then they will tell you, well, like, you know, I don't like this, I don't like that. And then you can take advantage of that and say, well, this is how I work. This is how I operate as an employee. And then you can sell yourself even more. Okay, number 5. This is really important. I don't care how many TikToks you've watched, how much you've researched Zuckerberg, and whatever, you need to dress the part. I wouldn't have this YouTube channel about fashion if I wouldn't talk about the way you dress. The way you dress, the way you sell yourself, the way you present yourself does matter, especially for an interview. Now, I have interviewed people literally that have not dressed well. You would be surprised. I mean, I've seen even people walk into the HR office for an interview with Crocs on and shorts. I would not even waste my time interviewing that person, to be quite honest with you. I don't really care if he's the most intelligent person on earth. You need to have self-respect. You have to respect the organization, in my personal opinion, and you have to dress the part. If you have listened to any of Dan Pena videos, I would highly suggest it. He says the same thing. You need to dress well if you want to work for me. Also, if you've seen the show Scandal, the first season, they talk about, you know, being a gladiator in a suit. That is another good example that you need to dress well for sure for your interviews. Suit up, wear neutral colors. Don't do the Dwight Schrute thing, like yellows, wine colors, orange, yellows. No, you're not going to a parade in the middle of July, okay? Neutral all the way. Neutral colors. You know, look at how politicians dress. That's how you're gonna dress. That's the type of colors you want to adopt. Blues, grays, whites, blacks. I love the monochromatic look. That looks really elegant and really intellectual. And I can also make videos about what to wear for an interview. Another tip, if you're a woman, forget about your crazy nails. If you have very long nails, cut that down. Forget about all the designs that are out there, neutral colors or just one solid color on your nails. If you want to paint them, if you want to go with a nice manicure, I would highly recommend that. If you're one of those types that have like a big purse, like a big shopping bag purse, leave that in your car for the interview. Just bring your black portfolio. I have a leather portfolio that I bring, and I have a notebook in there, and I have copies of my resume, and I don't know what else I have in there, a pen and some other documents, whatever I need for the interview. Your phone needs to be in silent. Forget about vibrating. Turn that off too. I would suggest that. If you have a lot of keys in your key, everything is in the details. I feel like everything is in the details. If you have like a huge keychain and you have a bunch of keys, just leave the majority of that in your car and just take your car keys, get it out of that mess, and people notice everything. I know I do. Those were my tips I know this is a long video. I expected this to be only like 10 minutes, but it's just a lot. Looking for a job, doing your resume, all these things, just it's very time consuming. You have to have patience. Well, thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.